Hey there, Simone here with Bulletproof Business Growth, as always, with ideas and insights, what to pay attention to when you're getting ready to grow and scale your business. Now, one of the hottest subjects always is how do I effectively delegate so I can get my time back and focus on the stuff that actually matters, which is growing your business, coming up with new strategies, being innovative, all that stuff that you're the only person who can really do that. And look, most business owners, delegation is something that happens at a very, very basic level, which means you can't grow and scale because you are the true hub for everything. You're the center of everything. Everything comes from you. Everything happens through you. So that is kind of a problem because that means you can't really go anywhere. Your dream is to build that self-managing company, to have that self-managing team that can grow the business for you. But when you're the hub of everything, that can't happen. So, because when you think about having a self-managing company, what that allows you to do is get that time back so that you can do what you do best, that you are at your HBU, which is not the hub, it's your highest and best use. So you're going from being the hub to being HBU, highest and best use. And well, of course that allows you to grow the business, to be more effective, to pay attention to what's strategically necessary, improve your business model, increase your profit, do everything that you really should be doing as the business owner, as the CEO. But then another thing that allows you to do is get your time back also to have a life, to travel, to spend more time with your family, and to really also get into the stuff you probably really got into the business for, which is be the entrepreneur, get to play with your shiny, fun projects that you don't usually probably have the time to play with because you're always stuck in the weeds. You're always doing everything. Most of your time is probably spent in transactional stuff versus transformational stuff. And for most of you, the hitch is if you had to leave for a month, everything would go to hell in a handbasket. So this is really where, first of all, to be able to make the changes you need to make is we need to make sure we actually change the goals and expectations with the team so that they go from expecting that you're going to solve all the problems, take care of mistakes, fight all the fires, that is part of their responsibilities. So this is building a culture of a shared mission, vision, and ownership. So every single person who works with you believes in your mission and is there because they love it. They completely get what your vision is. They're fully bought in. They're there to really participate, and they have ownership not just over the little things they do, but they want to bring full ownership for everything they're involved with. So their job is not just what's on their job description. Their job is your company. So this is really where that shared piece comes to mind, because every problem is everybody's problem. Everybody needs to show up with the mindset of what can I do to help this get solved? What can I do to show up and make this better? So this starts with, and this is a tough one, everybody has to leave their ego at the door, because when everybody's job is everything, that means that sometimes you need to ask for help. Sometimes somebody who's better at what you're doing needs to take over. Sometimes you need to get out of the way to get better results. So leaving your ego at the door is step one. The other part is having a clear chain of command. Now I'm going to say something that's kind of contradictory, because part of what I really want to encourage everybody is having more of a flat organization where everybody's responsible for everything, but with a clear chain of command that gives the clarity and that gives the support that everybody needs to, so they can be accountable for what needs to get done. And the where a more flat structure is so much better and helpful is because it really motivates people to have collaboration. Because everybody, to make this a self-managing team, to achieve a self-managing company, everybody really needs to own the business together. And when I'm not talking about actual ownership, I'm talking about emotional and mental ownership. So that everybody who's on your team, everybody looks at, okay, these things that need to get done, who's best at this? Generally, that's the person who owns that role. But we're all responsible for getting this done. So we all need to show up for when this person needs help, when we can contribute something, when we can give and receive something from them. So this is really, really where building a great leadership team brings a lot of value to the table. Because as your leadership team gets better and better, and I don't mean leadership team in the sense of titles. I'm talking about where everybody on the team is always looking for, how can I show up as a leader? How can I help make things better? How can I improve things? What can I do to drive better results? So those are your key people. And those key people are leaders to the rest of your team, which means that you get to a place where you have leaders at every level, because this is a self-perpetuating mindset and culture now. So we want to make sure that everybody gets to a place where everybody's skills are constantly improving, because that means we're always training, we're always challenging each other, we're always challenging ourselves, we're always growing, because that means we can all take on more and we can get things done with a whole lot more efficiency and effectiveness. So our goal in this whole scenario is developing a peer-to-peer delegation culture where you are actually now on the sidelines, where pretty much everything, they can solve most problems, they can fight most fires, they can take care of most mistakes, and they can actually take care of most projects and most business areas. And your job is to be there, to be their coach, to be their champion, and to lead from the sidelines when they need you, right? So, because right now, I want you to honestly check yourself and think about, as the CEO, how much of what happens every day is still on your plate. Is it 80%? Is it 90%? Because what it really should be is, it should be about 5% of what the business does. So I would encourage you, it's the start of the year. This is a great time to do that. Recreate, or if you've never done it, create your CEO job description. And what that job description should entail is it should really only have 5% of what the business needs to be done should be on your plate, because those are the 5% that only you can do. And what that enables you to do is, when you get really, really clear on, remember, not being the hub, but being the HBU, being in your highest and best use, that means you are now delivering the highest value to the company, and that's what you're focused on. Now, none of this works if you can't let go of the rest of the responsibilities. This can't work if you don't let your team execute for you. So, of course, that's always the iffy part, because that means you have to have a team that you absolutely trust, that can get the job done, that will show up, that will go the extra mile, that can think strategically. And everybody on your team wants to do that. So a huge piece of getting this self-reliant and trusted team is to train them to be that. And during that training process, you'll notice, hey, who are the people who are coachable, who are hungry, who are wanting to show up at a higher level, who want to grow, and who are the people where that's just way too much trouble. And, it's really important that you recognize that, because you're a small business owner. You can't afford having a single person on your team who's not an absolute A player. And when you look at your team and, there's a few A's, then you probably have a bunch of B's, and maybe you have a few C's. Now those C's, they're the ones I just talked about. You know, they're resistant. They don't really want to show up at a higher level. They don't want to do more. They just kind of want to show up at the minimum amount, like the minimum level possible. These are not your people. These are not the people who are going to help you grow the business. You might not be able to fire them tomorrow because you need them to get something done, but these are the people who should be on your list to replace, and you should be actively working towards that. Because when you are in that bracket, when you have people in that C bracket, it will take far too much of your time, your money, your energy, your focus, your bandwidth to try to shift these people to being an A. And it probably won't happen. Now, when you have your, B's, B pluses, they might be the people who just need a little bit of extra training, who need a little bit of extra mentorship, who need your coaching, who need your attention. And with that support and with that attention, they will actually grow and prosper, and they will become those A players that you really need on your team. So when you think about how do you constantly train, and this is something you also have to train your leaders to do, is like, we got to train the trainer to train more trainers, right? So it's a chain reaction. So the way you want to think about training is it's a 10-80-10 distribution, where 10% of your time you train them to do the right thing. Then you give them 80% to actually allow them to move this thing forward. And then you spend 10% more to help them polish, help them show them how to do this thing better. So 10% to train them how to do it, how to do the thing, 80% of the time where they move the thing forward, and then 10% of your time to help them polish it. And that's really, when you think about it, now you're not really spending that much time, but you're keeping tabs on it and making sure that it's actually going well. So ask yourself, first of all, it's like, how many of my team members need more training? And start with your key people so that they have the right level of training, and then they can help you with the others. They can train the rest of the team. So that's really number one, to be in this place where you can gain the trust and you can move past that basic level of delegation. So once you did the training, you trained your people, now you can trust them. And right now you are still the hub of everything. You're the centralization. And that means you're still in the weeds. You still don't have a whole lot of time off, and you barely really know how to delegate right. So unfortunately, the problem with that part is that your team will emulate you, and they will do the same thing with their teams, which means you're stuck in a place where 10% of your time is in strategic and 90% is in execution, in doing transactional stuff, which when you're at that place, you cannot grow. So this is kind of the first stage. Now you trained the people, and you wrapped your mind around, okay, I need to move past this basic level of delegation where I chunk down everything into tiny, teeny tasks for people, and they rely on me for everything. So you're moving past that place. So now you're moving into stage 2. And stage 2 means where now you go from just working with tiny tasks and people having their exact to-do lists without which they can't live, to they're moving to be having ownership of whole projects and even areas of business. So this means you train them. Now you got to let go and not only give them tasks, you have to give them bigger areas of responsibility. So this means they can own ongoing responsibilities, ongoing workflows. So not every time this comes in, has to be something that you express to them. They just know this is theirs to take care of. And that means you're building a whole lot more responsibility and ownership for them, because now they're actually able to deliver. They're able to deliver at a higher level. They're building more confidence in themselves, which you really need them to do. So what's up to you in this place to be able to have your team take care of entire projects and entire workflows is you have to give them the clarity. Then you have to hold them accountable, and then you have to be able to communicate with them so that they can keep getting better. So you make sure that you give them the clear outcomes, and then you collaborate with them. Once they understand what the clear outcomes are that you're looking for, you collaborate with them on the plan so they can start to execute on this. So in the beginning, it's a collaboration between you and them to have this clear plan done. But as they keep moving forward, now it's actually, when they take more responsibility, they can keep moving forward on their own. They can report back to you. They can ask the right question, which means you build more and more trust because you're seeing them run with it, right? When you actually know that they got this for the most part, they will report back to you what actually happened, so you feel like you still have control over the process, and they will ask you when they really need to ask you. This is what you need to know so you can let go. So now you're probably in a place where you've gone from, this kind of 90-10 to, a 50-50, or 50% of your time is freed up, or maybe you're even in a place where 70% of your time is freed up. This is already a place where a lot of freedom happens. Now, that number 3, stage 3 here, is where total business freedom happens. And this is where you get to a place where you can actually release whole functional business areas to your team, and you have true peer-to-peer delegation. So, like I said earlier, we still need a clear chain of command in place for clarity and support, so everybody knows who ultimately owns the delivery, the outcomes, the value, who ultimately owns all the responsibility for the project. So we want to make sure that very, very clear so everybody knows where to go when they need support. But overall, that means we're getting to a place where this is a self-led team where we have true peer-to-peer collaboration. So this is, like I talked about earlier, this is a place where you have that direct collaboration where your team recognizes who's best at this, who needs to take ownership of this, and there's really no distinct leader. It's like the team leads this together because they know exactly what's needed and who's best at this and how to get it done. And then when you have that direct peer-to-peer delegation, it means you're actually bypassing any leadership for maximum efficiency, which happens when you have ultimate trust. So this is the holy grail that you're really going for, because that means everybody is thinking strategically, everybody takes the whole business into account, everybody's in alignment with your vision and your mission, and they can run with it. They can handle everything, they can run with it, they can deal with everything, and that puts you in a place where you only give input when you are absolutely needed. So this is truly when you flip the equation, you get to a place where 10% of your time is spent in the business and 90% of your time is spent working on the business, where you're truly just expanding the vision, being strategic, bringing the right deals to the table, and where you're leading your leaders. And that is how you would be spending your time at that moment, because now we've truly achieved that 595 percentage where you only take care of 5% in your business. That's where you support and grow people, where you help them get unblocked, where you remove obstacles, where you give them feedback, and really, really importantly, where you are the guardian of the culture in your business, which means now you're building true independence, where you have a self-managing team, and that means a self-managing company. So I hope you can wrap your mind around this. I hope this helps. We have a brand new training out there that addresses all this in detail. Go to bulletproofbusinessgrowth.com/jump, bulletproofbusinessgrowth.com/jump. and check out our free new training. Hope you're having a great week, and let us know if there's anything we can help with.